Thank you, Mr. President. I also just want to rise briefly to speak in favour of this bill. Members will be aware that this is the portfolio responsibility of my colleague, the Honourable Tammy Franks. She is absent today, and so I did just want to save us some time in the committee stage, indicate where the Greens sit in relation to the amendments of the Honourable Frank Pengello. It won't be as surprising to members that, of course, we are supportive of the Honourable Member's amendments. While the Greens acknowledge and thank the government for bringing this bill forward, as my colleague, the Honourable Tammy Franks, alluded to in her second reading speech, the government hasn't brought forward the full list of changes that stakeholders, including the UFU, United Firefighters Union, have asked for. I do just want to briefly reference some of the correspondence. I understand my colleague, the Honourable Tammy Franks, has received from the UFU, and I quote from that: "The Queensland Parliament recently passed the Workers' Compensation and Other Legislation Amendment Act of 2024. That Act significantly increased the number of cancers that are covered by presumptive workers' compensation provision for professional firefighters. The total number of cancers covered by the Queensland scheme is 23. Significantly, the proposal in Queensland enjoyed bipartisan support. Disappointingly, to date, we have not received support for equivalent legislation from the Malinauskas government. That is disappointing. For clarity, that correspondence was received on the 18th of October of this year. But that correspondence goes on to point out that while South Australia's current scheme is in alignment with Queensland's on 16 cancers, the bill as it stands would only add an additional 3 to the list. Now, of course, we welcome that, and the government should be commended for doing that, but we do need to go a bit further, and that's what the amendment of the Honourable Frank Pengello does. These amendments would add 8 more cancers to the list and bring a further 1 in line with the length of service required under the scheme that operates in Queensland. So once again, I think this does demonstrate the power of the crossbench in this place in terms of coming up with important contributions, putting forward the concerns of stakeholder groups, and so I do commend the Honourable Frank Pengello for his work on this, and of course also the UFU and others who have been advocating in this space. This bill will be strengthened by the amendments not only for career firefighters but also volunteer firefighters. And as the Honourable Tammy Franks mentioned in her second reading speech, while the Greens have consulted with the CFS Volunteers Association, it is not clear to us whether the government have actually consulted with these groups when developing this legislation. With that, I do indicate the Greens will support both of the Honourable Frank Pengello's amendments. And I might also just use this opportunity to recognise the long-term work and leadership of my colleague, the Honourable Tammy Franks, who has been a long-term advocate for CFS, firefighters, and addressing their needs. So I want to commend her as well for her work.
General to